Welcome to Pride Month. We're going to talk about what Pride Month is and why we need it, and do we even need a Pride Month? But first, just a real quick history lesson. Pride Month was first invented in New York, in Flushing, Queens, in 1939, on the exact location, in the exact same building where gayness was first invented, by a tailor and his very close friend, a rather bewildered steelworker. And exactly 1 month to the day later, the very first draft of the LGBTQ agenda was drafted. Although back then it was, of course, pre-acronym, so in its original form it was just called the Lesbian Proclamation. An alternate version of that joke was I was going to call it the Man Love Manifesto because I love alliteration, but in honor of the fact that the lesbians have been so very important to the Pride movement in general, I figured we better recognize those girls. It is, after all, why the L comes first in the acronym, and that, by the way, is not a joke. In the original form, in the original abbreviation, the L didn't come first, the G came first, but then in recognition of all the hard work and support that the L's provided everybody else, well, it was decided that the L should come first. And of course, the opening to this video was a complete fabrication, a joke. I thought it sounded funny. It was a lighthearted way to roll into this, so hopefully get your attention thus far, so I can invite you to like and subscribe and bell and do the thing in the comments and all that kind of stuff we're supposed to beg you for. Hello again, I am Blunty. It is Pride Month, and no, the entirety of my channel is not going to be just about LGBTQ agenda stuff or SJW videos for this entire month. So if you are the type of person who only comes here for the stuff I do about video games, for example, feel free just to not click on these videos. It's pretty easy to tell which videos are about which by the thumbnail and the title in general. You can pretty easily tell which ones are going to be the Pride ones. I probably have a rainbow there somewhere, and the gaming ones are probably going to have something to do with gaming. So if you don't want to hear this sort of stuff, if you're not interested in this sort of stuff, if you're against it for whatever reason, you don't have to listen. You don't have to come to the video and click on the video just to tell me this isn't the content you subscribe for. You can just not watch the content you didn't come here for. Or is that too easy? Alternatively, you can come here and give it a good listen. Maybe you might learn something interesting. I'm not going to try and change your mind on anything, but, you know, listening to people can gain new perspectives. And that is part of what I like to think Pride Month is about. But before we get there, let's talk about the argument that always comes up from certain types of people. I'm not going to call them friends of a certain historical figure because a lot of people got really angry about it last time I did that. But you know who I'm talking about. But the general argument against having a Pride Month is, why do we need a Pride Month? If you are born this way, surely it shouldn't be something you'll be proud of. If you're born that way, you can't help it. It's no more valid having a Pride Month than it is having a Green Eyes Month. People born with green eyes are just born that way, and it's nothing to be proud of. It's just how they are. That's how you say you are, so why do we need a Pride Month? And sure, in a completely sterile universe where morons get to make these kinds of false equivalencies while standing atop a very rickety stepladder held together entirely with still moist glue of, well, let's be kind and call it logic. But let me ask you this in response. When is the last time you heard of someone getting kicked out of home as a teenager because their eyes were green? Or the last time you heard someone being denied medical treatment because their eyes were green? Or the last time you heard someone being bashed in the street because their eyes were green? It's not the same thing, loves. And Pride Month isn't about pride externalized. It's not all about people going, hey, look at me, I'm queer, look at me, pay attention to me, this is all about me, this is my month, look at me, this is about me, me, gay, or lesbian, or bi, or queer, or trans, or whatever any other letter or part of the spectrum you care for. I mean, it certainly can be about that, and it's perfectly valid to be proud of a letter you've picked out of that acronym because, well, getting to that point can be pretty tricky for some people and involves a lot of heartache, a lot of stress, a lot of depression, a lot of physical risk sometimes. It's very scary, it's very challenging, and, you know, it is something to be proud of to finally claim that little corner of the rainbow flag. That flag, the rainbow. Ruin the whole spiel there. The rainbow. Point is, it is something to be proud of when you can finally stand up tall and say, I am this. Pride Month is also when we have the talk about rainbow capitalism, and all the brands come out and they change their logos on Twitter with rainbows in them or a little circly rainbow thing around it, or they make 1 or 2 posts a week with rainbow background saying, we love you, we support you, love is love, here's our product with a rainbow on it you can buy right here. And a lot of people get real pissy about that. And a lot of people are pretty happy about that. You go, oh, finally, I like this brand. It's nice to see this brand coming out and saying that they're okay with the gay. That feels great. And other people are going, well, they're just sort of, capitalists and monstrous corporations just trying to take advantage and market to gay people, and they only want to sell stuff with rainbows on it so they can make more money. Well, yes, their businesses, the corporations, that's their whole deal. Their purpose is to make money, sell products, make money. That's why they exist. So filtering their, Pride Month stuff through the lens of that, I feel is okay. It's better if, a portion of the proceeds goes to an appropriate, LGBT charity or organization or something like that. It's better if they do that all year round as well. Or at the very least, knowing that certain companies work with LGBTQIA organizations to make sure their own workplaces are friendly and open and accepting, and education happens in that. Like Lego, for example. I did a video about Lego's rainbow set thing for Pride Month, and none of the proceeds are going to an appropriate charity, but Lego have a long history of working with appropriate organizations so their workplace is as LGBTQIA friendly as possible. And of course, they are a Danish company, and as I pointed out in the other Lego video, the Danish people have a very long history of being among the first to open up rights and opportunities and, equality for the Rainbow Brigade, as it were. And I find it absolutely delightful that the fuck your feelings crowd get their feelings really, really hurt anytime in June when they see one of their preferred brands post a rainbow on their product or release some Oreo cookies with some colored goo in the middle. I love watching them go into absolute hissy fits about this stuff and claiming, well, that's it, I'm never buying your product again, supporting the agenda. So you ask, why do we need Pride Month at all? Well, because of that reaction for a start. The very tip of the iceberg, because people are so angry, so frustrated, so furious that queer people exist, and not just exist, but they are reminded of it constantly throughout the month of June. They get so panty twisted about it that they will stop buying their favorite products in protest. Their kids will no longer have Lego given to them. They are so angry that Lego has the audacity to say, well, being queer is a thing that happens in the world and we're pretty cool with that. So why do we need Pride Month? Because of that, and because of so many other reasons, so many important reasons, so many stupid reasons as well. It's okay to have a stupid reason to have Pride Month and talk about Pride Month. It's okay to have it very important and vital and reasons that affect people's health and safety and equality. All of it is valid. Pride Month, like pride itself, like queerness itself, it's a spectrum. Are you tired of hearing about the word spectrum yet? It's such a useful word to talk about so many different things. I love the word spectrum. It's one of those percussive words I love to say, spectrum. But mostly, I like to think of the pride in Pride Month, about the pride engendered by helping others with their own journeys and self-understanding. About pride in trying to educate, trying to help people understand better, because ignorance is at the root of all this fear and hatred. Fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, and hate leads to suffering. And it is also being proud of the accomplishments of everyone else behind us who've worked for decades now to get us where we are today. We've still got a road ahead, don't get me wrong, but compared to where, gay rights and whatnot were in, say, the 1939s or something, well, there's a lot to be proud of there. There's been a lot of progress made, and a lot of people are far safer than they ever were and have more opportunities to be treated equally than they ever have been in the world in the past. And it is absolutely important we recognize, learn about, celebrate, and be proud of the accomplishments of these people, these people with irrepressible strength and spirit who helped get us here today. The people who did stand up in front of frothy-mouthed, angry mobs filled of ignorance and hate pouring off them like a toxic tidal wave of ugh, and just stood in their path and said, hey, we're here, we're queer, you should probably get used to it because we ain't going nowhere, love. But what Pride Month is or needs to be also changes depending on where the community is at any one point. You know, I'm not just talking about locally. Pride Month might mean something very different to someone in Iran than it does here in Sydney, for example, but also on the spectrum of time. What Pride Month used to be, this furious screaming, marching down the street saying, please just recognize us as other people. Let's start there. Can you see me as a human? All the way through to today where, you know, a lot of the activism around Pride is still fighting for equal rights, equal access. Pride Month can also be an opportunity for people to come out knowing that there's this whole swell of noise around them and lots of other people sort of coming out at the same time and lots of opportunities for support to help you stand up and say that thing which you are. So Pride Month is also welcoming those people who have finally found, you know, the strength and will and opportunity and faith enough in those around them to be able to come out. Or indeed offering our support to the people who just haven't figured out what their deal is yet. They're still searching for that particular color in one of the flags that suits them. Which letter of the acronym should they pick up and slap on their hat? It's, you know, time to help those people, talk to those people, talk about our own experiences and our own journeys. And in listening to us tell our stories, maybe someone hears something familiar for their story. They go, oh, okay, I've felt exactly that way. Because let me tell you, the pride you feel in yourself when you finally figure out your deal, when all these little puzzle pieces in your past start falling into place. Oh, okay, I felt that way or acted that way, or this relationship, you know, it went this way or this way because of, you know, everything starts making sense with a new context, with a new word. It's not a mystery anymore. It's not confusing anymore. Why did that happen? Was it something I did? Was it something I did? Did I not understand something? Suddenly, with understanding, you know, all these jumbled puzzle pieces become a picture of yourself. Pride Month is about visibility. It's about being seen. It's about having conversations. It's about being open to having conversations. It's about listening as well. And I'm not only talking about communicating to, you know, the haters out there who don't understand us or hate us for whatever reason they have to hate us. I'm talking about within the community as well, because even within the community, there are still misunderstandings and arguments and ignorance about, you know, what means what and who belongs where and what's, you know, there's the oppression Olympics thing going on. Is, oh, you know, we deserve more attention because we have it harder out there in the world, and your particular kind of, your particular corner of the rainbow flag, you don't get oppressed as much, so your voice doesn't count as much. That kind of rubbish. We've got to take control of that as well. But like I said, for me, Pride Month is about communication, about education, about learning. So to anyone not under the shadow of that big rainbow flag, I invite you to try and learn as much as you can and talk to real people about this sort of stuff and have conversations. And don't be afraid to ask dumb questions, I promise you. Probably won't be the first time I've heard it. They'll probably have a really concise answer for you they've been working on for quite so many years now to try and explain things to you as clearly and concisely as possible. And for those of you under the shadow of the big rainbow flag, I invite you to look outside and within the group and sort of clear up as much hostility and open up to understanding as you can. Because I think it's really important that all of us, inside the shadow and outside the shadow, whatever the metaphor I was using there, walk the walk, as well as talking the talk about openness and acceptance and equality. Anyway, this is kind of more rambling and excessive than I planned on making this video. I didn't have a script for this one. I am working on scripts for the other videos. Oh, it's been hard work. My brain has been in a very weird place. It's been hard to focus and concentrating, sort of get my thoughts in an appropriate order and stuff. So I'm still working on those scripts, but hopefully I can get them to make sense, and hopefully I get them to be accessible and understandable, and hopefully I get them to be concise enough to where people will watch all the way through. For those of you who did watch all the way through this one, thank you very much for that. I do appreciate it. And thank you as always to the patrons who are scrolling up above there. I am Blunty. I am queer. If you're curious about the exact type of queer that I am, then make sure you subscribe, because there will be a video or two about precisely that. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time.